just like aren't even, yeah, a
I
lot of those diet trends that people jump onto just to get famous and like they want to like, double down on that. I feel like a lot of them, they're not even legitimate good ideas. They've
Yeah,
just,
well, 100%. Well, on social media now, I mean, anyone could post anything, and there's so many people listening to, these famous different influencers about, this diet, that diet. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's really just what works for you. I mean, there's no really specific diet that you should be following. It's really just whatever you could stick to, because, a diet's not a good one unless you could stick to it for your whole life or for a long period of time.
yeah. And I feel like our bodies are forever changing and evolving. I'm really big into just like when we were talking about the diets. I'm really big on making sure that there's at least one day of fasting because I feel like that's like our automatic deep cleaning button that we can hit on the human body. And just being in the industry with hair extensions and seeing a lot of people that come in struggling with hair loss, it's all about what we're putting into our body and how overloaded our detoxification organs are. And then it's like you go to the doctors, like, hey, let's pile these, medications in. And it's just
Yeah.
giving our body one more thing to have to process.
Yeah, that's actually one
So
of the main questions I had. I was wondering, like, does diet affect, like, is diet really important for hair loss? Is like that one of the reasons why you keep your hair or you could lose your hair?
I feel like that's a big deal because if your body's already overloaded trying to detoxify itself from things that it just can't process, like literally anything that God put on the planet, fruits, vegetables, animals, um, as long as we're eating those things, like we were meant to be eating those things. Like that's what
Yeah.
the human body was meant to eat. Then we start putting all these things in, like we're just talking like, let's talk about toothpastes, hair products, skincare products, like lotions. I mean, like how many people do you know that wear colognes and perfumes? Our
Yeah.
body is constantly trying to detoxify itself with all of these things. And we're not even talking about, processed foods, processed sugars, fruit drinks, coffee, tea, milk. I mean, just when you just even make a list of all the things that we're putting into our bodies every day, this isn't just we're eating an apple anymore. This
Mhm.
isn't just we're going to
mm,
go out and hunt and gather for our food and have a sensible meal at night. It's a
yeah.
whole, and this is why I feel that a lot of people are struggling with hair loss and sickness and
mm.
illness.
Do you think a lot of the when it comes to the hair products, do you think there are solid ones out there? Because for myself, like sea salt spray and stuff like that, or would you say it's just all like you should just stick to?
Well, yeah, so that's a really good question. I see a lot of people that I think are having allergic reactions from their shampoos and conditioners.
Yeah.
Now, back in the 80s, when there was four ingredients on the back of your shampoo and your conditioner, it was like glycerin, aloe vera gel, fruit, plant extracts. I mean, like that's the kind of stuff that was in our products back then. Now it's like you pick up, you can't even, there's so many things on there. You don't, they're
Yeah.
chemicals. And, I had a client come in the other day and she's like, I mean, literally patches of bald spots on her head. And she works at the hospital. I mean, I see this all the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're allergic to something. Like if you see a dog or an animal that starts losing its hair, like there's something going on
Mm.
internally or externally. So I called up a dermatologist allergist and say, hey, how quickly can we get this lady a skin allergy test? And she took me through, the motions on that. And then the client sitting there in the chair, she goes, oh my gosh, I think you're onto something because my scalp, it itches. And I'm like, did you tell that to the doctor? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, they still want to just give you a cream? Like, go home and shampoo your head with something natural, like, I don't know, baking soda, and just like kind of let it sit on there. And we want to get off whatever's on there that's making your head itch.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
Yeah.
well,
yeah.
it's like
Well,
if we like put a lotion on our body, right? And our skin starts to itch or we get a rash, we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, let's wash that off.
mhm.
Right.
Mm.
And so she calls me an hour later. She's like, it's a miracle. My scalp's not itching anymore. So there's a lot of chemicals. I mean,
Yeah.
everything's made with too many chemicals these days.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, like realistically, we just buy whatever we buy all these different products for our hair without even looking into anything. And you don't know how your hair is going to react to it or your body. This is going into anything though,
Dude,
foods,
big time.
hair, like hair products, anything, any type of
Yeah.
product. Like you don't know what's good for your body. So honestly, like it makes you think like, should you, before you even buy anything, hair products, food, things like that, like should you be looking at, what's good for you, not just what's said to be good, but what's specific for your body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's really scary, especially as someone in my position where I see people, women mostly, coming in a
Mm.
lot. I mean, I'm getting probably 10 new people a day coming in with just
Wow.
just patches
Oh, that's
missing out
crazy.
of their head. And
Yeah.
it's paralyzing to them.
Yeah.
I mean, this don't even think for 1 second that I have like this gorgeous, nice hair. This isn't even my hair. Okay. And I tell everybody that right away. And I'm like, listen, I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, such great hair. What
Yeah.
is she doing? No, this is a hair piece.
So question, how much would you say that hair, because I think it's obvious, but plays into just overall confidence in life, and how much it can not only change someone's life physically, but really just,
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna finish. I saw I thought you were trying to butt in there, but
No,
that
no,
brings
no.
me to
I
the
have
question. Yeah.
somebody came
Oh,
walking
sorry,
in.
sorry.
It's okay.
Um, but yeah, like really on a scale of someone who sees it every day, how much of an impact do you really would you say? Just overall, I'm trying to word the question and just like, what what is your take on that?
On what? What again? I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
In terms of how much hair and how much the things you do can impact someone's not only just physical but just mental health and
Oh,
confidence.
oh, totally. I mean, like I just had a client who had a baby and her hair is, completely falling out from, the pregnancy, and she's in this early stage of right after childbirth. And I put a hair system on her because her hair was just not looking like normal hair right now. And she feels so much better. She's like, wake up and I like myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that's
good.
crazy.
And
Yeah.
it's like that's a big deal for women
Hmm.
because we get up in the morning and we look in the mirror,
Hmm.
and it's like
Yeah.
if we can have some nice hair, we're going to sleep looking nice, waking up
Hmm.
looking nice, and we just don't have to think about aging or,
Yeah.
Mm.
looking good enough for
100%. Yeah.
the
And
world.
would you say that like, stress and anxiety, things like that, like they play into hair loss, like that's a big factor?
Yeah, I think it does.
Just a little
And I mean,
snowball effect, right? Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're stressed that it's not going the best, and that's adding to it, and just
Oh
maybe.
yeah, people lose their hair from like stressful things happening in their lives, like,
Yeah.
losing a loved one, going through a divorce. I mean, like,
Mm.
we're a living being. We're
Humans.
not supposed to be producing stress hormone all day long. We're supposed to be in a restful, repairing mode.
Mm.
Now we've got like just way too much world going on
Yeah,
around
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
us.
So you create, like you mentioned just before, you create hair plans for people?
Yeah, we do. We create hair plans.
Okay.
Um, Basically, it's hair extensions and hair systems. Sometimes we do wigs if the client is like has lost all of their hair. But we take a look at their hair type and then match it with its perfect counterpart in hair extensions to prevent breakage. A lot of stylists out there, they might just do one method of hair extensions like tape-ins because it's easy. You can get them in and out quickly, but most of the hair that you put tape in on is going to break it.
Yeah.
It's only meant for one certain hair type.
So how is that process trying to find like the what hair matches theirs? Like, does it take a while
Oh,
to, get the
no, no,
perfect
it
one?
doesn't. We know it right away. So
Oh, okay, okay.
if it's fine or thin hair with low density, then they're probably going to need something like a hair system that just goes on top like this, and then it just
Hmm.
covers their hair. Like my hair is just super thin and low density. You can't really put hair extensions on that.
Okay.
It's not going to
Mm.
be able to hold it, and it's gonna break the hair, and you're also going to be able to see it through the hair. So that's an indicator that you're going to need a hair system or a hair topper of some sort. And then, medium to thick hair can do like a sewing, like a beaded weft where we sew a weft in around the head, or tape-ins for thicker, more coarse hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh,
And then,
awesome.
oh, you're good.
No, no, no. I was just wrapping it. If you have no question.
Oh yeah, I was just wondering also like for people that are not as educated in this as you are, like for the hair systems, like what is that? Like what's the hair system? Because I
So
was
a
just
hair,
wondering myself.
yeah, a hair system is, let me see, I have one right here. So a hair system is it's it's a really high-end hair topper, and they don't have clips on them. They just glue right on top of the hair.
Okay.
So we take measurements and stuff of the top of the head, and then we basically put a double-sided tape around here, and then we put adhesive on it. And then the inside it's ventilated so you can go into the shower.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, you can
I
go in the
actually did not know.
shower, you can go
I had no clue what
swimming.
that looked like. Wow.
is
Yeah,
that
it's
like
pretty cool
modern?
because then you can just put it on top of your hair, and then we also color
Oh,
it
wow,
to be exactly like the person's hair. So
that's
it's all
awesome.
custom. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. No, that I never knew there was so much that went into it. Obviously.
Yeah, it's got to look good. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
goal is making sure that people are walking down the street and no one knows that it's not their hair.
Mm.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just admiring their hair.
So do you just do women or do you have a lot of men that come to you too?
We do have men
Yeah.
that come in, and so basically everything's private. We basically have curtains that go around each shampoo bowl, and then we
Okay.
have private rooms and stuff like that too. Because, nobody wants to be
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
middle
You want
of
privacy.
salons.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, so we
how
do.
busy? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, how busy does like how many private rooms do you have? Are they usually all filled? Like how?
So we
What
have
is
three
that?
private rooms, and then we're working on putting privacy in between each one of the stations. Let me see if I
Oh,
can kind of show you. So we have a bunch of stations, and then we have three private rooms. And then
Okay.
we're working on putting like some pink, kind of like small, like almost like fitting room style type privacy around the stations. I plan on having some more wig and like removable hair systems soon.
Okay.
oh,
So
awesome.
now, even from this, just jumping because I know you said you also did a podcast and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
just even jumping into the social media space, would you say you like have utilized the social media platforms? Like, are you big on like Instagram and
Not
things like that?
really. Not really. I mean, I've been so busy behind the chair
Yeah.
and trying to find people to help, especially through COVID. I've been doing this 20 years, and
Oh, okay. Wow.
but then I just opened up this my first location
Oh, okay.
3 weeks before COVID hit. So, there was
Oh,
like a long period
yeah.
of time where nobody
Yeah.
really wanted to work. But uh what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just if, like you've been utilizing, these
Oh
days
yeah,
we're so
social
modern
media.
with social medias.
I
Yeah.
really haven't had time to. I
Yeah.
just focus on making sure that I have enough information for when people are going to Google hair extensions or hair
Yeah.
systems or hair
Mm.
loss. But I am in the middle of basically completely revamping all of my videos and just getting more modern information out there and step by steps on how to take care of things. And we're kind of doing a little facelift right now with the booking system, the website, and I'm going to be doing all kinds of new videos. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
It's hard to, especially like for someone like me who's kind of wearing so many different hats, to actually put time and effort into social media and putting, a lot of new information consistently. I would have to
100%.
work 7 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, when you think about it, you think about now, and you see like even people like me, like I see even on Instagram, you see all these new businesses, and even for me, like this happened with me plenty of times. I see all these new, I'm a big foodie, so I see all these new different food places on Instagram, and and you realize that's how people are getting so popular these days. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they
Using
are.
social media
What
and stuff like that.
what I feel like why social media is a big thing is in the world we live in, I feel like people want to be like people. So if they see a video of someone going out to a restaurant, people want to go to that restaurant.
Yeah,
If
100%.
Totally.
if people see, you know, if in social media, use you as an example. If they see people going to your spot, recommending it, saying how wonderful of an experience, private rooms, all these amenities that you serve that not a lot of people have,
Right.
and how intelligent you are, I feel like the
That would
snowball
really
effect
help.
happens.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I would like to find a an influencer, somebody who has a lot of followers,
Yeah.
maybe there's somebody out there who's struggling with hair loss that wants to come in for an experience. I mean, I at some point I'll have people helping me, do that kind of thing. But right
Hmm.
now I'm just trying to gear up to get more help so I can focus on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I feel like
Exactly.
that's how a lot of people make it really big on social media is they find an influencer who has, all kinds of following,
Followers,
and then
and they
they
bring in
pay them
people.
to go out for a free dinner, and then next thing
100%. Yeah.
everybody's, but
Everyone
that
else, yeah.
it's like probably 10 to 20 grand for whoever they're
Yeah, I
having.
mean, a
Yeah,
hundred
I
percent.
don't
Like,
even
there's a
know what
lot,
those
a lot that
prices.
goes into it behind the scenes. You know what I mean? That you don't see. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I was just getting into it. I think it's really cool that even if you said you weren't really that into making videos, like that you have a podcast and stuff like that. Like, I think that's big, especially modern day. Like, it's not like it used to be. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could get the word out throughout your neighborhood and things like that, but to really grow on a global level, scale, like really scale your business, it's so much into social media and there's so many different aspects of it now.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are just sitting around. I mean, they're glued to their phone.
Oh,
They're glued to
Yeah.
their
100%.
phone. So like social media, like, absolutely. I mean, it's true. That's really one of my next goals is to be able to um, put a lot more how-to videos and try to
Yeah, those are definitely big.
Mm.
yeah, I want to try to you know, be really authentic and connect with the person on the other end that might be struggling with thinning hair and not thinking that they're good enough. And, I want to be able to bring them some information that might help.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely. But that's one thing that you said that's true and that I love is being authentic is what you
Yeah.
really what people I think are starting to come around to because we went through this phase of like a little bit post COVID of everyone was being fake, but I feel like people just want real content. Like even in like the health like the fitness industry, I feel like the ones that are really like flourishing right now are the people that just prop the camera up and just talk to you about the pain,
Right.
talk to you about the injuries, like no one wants to hear that this stuff is just sunshine and rainbows anymore because people are
Yeah.
starting to turn that eye kind of so that authentic kind of look that you just said is
Right.
but I agreed with that's a big one getting influencers with a lot of followers to use your name but what I'm really seeing too because I'm in a space with a lot of these personal like fitness coaches that do videos and everything they their how-to videos and everything are really getting some good viewership
Yeah.
just by themselves.
Right.
With a good video script and a good strategy of timing of the post and maybe some hashtags on there really gets eyes I've been seeing.
Well, right, they could, but also like when you're in the like when they're like working out and like doing
Mm.
physical fitness, those that's their whole entire life.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
don't really
yeah,
have a whole lot to do except for be physically fit and share tips.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I
exactly.
feel like
It's the
that's a
time.
great, it's just a great uh industry to be in front of the film, like
Yeah.
to be in front of the camera all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also, I
definitely.
mean, relating back to, what you do with hair and stuff, I feel like people now, especially because of social media, think of being healthy is just like, having big muscles or how your body looks. But like people don't understand, like health also goes into like, your hair, like you said, you know what I mean? Be healthy for other reasons like that, for your
Yeah,
mental wellness, for your hair. That's a
totally.
big, you know what I mean? It's definitely big.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think,
I feel like meditation plays a really big role in our bodies being able to be in parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of sympathetic. So when you're in sympathetic nervous system, that means your body is in it's producing stress hormone.
okay.
So stressing when it's in sympathetic nervous system. But if we're able to push our bodies into parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and repair, one of the ways to get there is to meditate. And I know like a lot of people might not know how to do that. And it's super beneficial. And it's basically forcing yourself to just sit in a quiet, dark, put a face mask on, just sit and relax and don't even worry about the thoughts. It's
Mhm.
just about bringing your relaxation peaceful level down for like 20 minutes, 2 times a day. And I think that people struggling with hair loss from stress, it will reverse that really quickly. And I think that's one of the best things we can do.
Okay, so you would say you're big into meditation because as
Oh
someone
yeah.
myself, I've heard a lot about it. Never really got myself into it, but
It's
I definitely
yeah.
feel like, yeah, from hearing a lot, I
It's
hear a
is
lot of good
people
things.
think meditation, oh, I can't get the thoughts to stop. But really what it is just trying to hollow out some space for you to just sit, even just turn your computer on, put your eye
Yeah.
mask on, make sure everything's quiet, and literally just sit there, eyes closed, not listening to anything, and just try to be as peaceful as possible. Because people don't really realize what that type of meditation, like what it takes to do that. And it's
Mhm.
basically just put a timer on your phone for 20 minutes. And the more you practice doing that, the more you're going to find your level of peace and your ability to like make great decisions. And they say the people that are in the most restful state of mind make the best decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
definitely agree because it's when it comes to meditation and there's different forms of meditation.
Yeah,
If doing your job to some people is a form of peace and being able to clear the mind. But like you've been saying in the sentence you said, a couple minutes ago about wearing so many hats, just giving yourself that time in the day to just stop and to just
totally.
breathe and to just relax. And it's so
Totally.
essential. And it's so essential and people aren't not just not doing it often, not doing it at all. Um,
It's
that
really tough. It's really tough to just add a new habit
habit, exactly.
onto our daily,
Cold turkey, it,
like
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
definitely.
I think
hard.
people even think of meditation like, there's all these different things that you could do to better yourself, especially like you said, meditation. And I feel like people think that they have to go all in right away. And then it's like, oh, I have another task at hand. You know what I mean? It's like more work. That's think of it as more work.
Oh,
I think
totally.
people just have to, a little at a time, you see what works for you. Everybody is different.
Yeah.
And when people jump into things, they jump into the crazy diets right away, the crazy, even if they do too much meditation right away, if they jump into the crazy workouts right away, too much of anything is never good. You know what I mean?
Right.
At the end
No,
of the day.
totally. Yeah, I had a
Oh,
counselor one time and she was like, Emily, just try to do 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
Hmm.
It- I want you to do 1 minute a day. And it's like, who can't do 1 minute a day?
Yeah, yeah.
Come on, let's
yeah.
put it, put a calendar,
Well,
reminder. And if I don't care if you have to put 3 calendar reminders just to get that 1 minute, but it's something that we really have to think about as a person. Okay, like what's my daily schedule already look like? When do you think that I could possibly get that 1 minute in? Is it, you know, right after I wake up and have some
Hmm.
water? Okay, I can do a minute. And it's really just that one little tiny step.
Yeah. And if
Makes it
if no, definitely. And just if you don't mind, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit to
sure.
to to those, like you said, wearing so many hats at the same time. Obviously I just use that in another analogy. I'm really fascinated by that and how you're
Oh my
able to
gosh.
to manage that, how much you're struggling to manage that, and what, if you don't mind to share, like, what are those hats?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so basically being a hairdresser for 20 years, we're wearing the customer service hats. We're working behind the chair on the client, so we're working on the craft. And then you have to do, you have to order color, you have to organize, you're doing booking, you're a receptionist, and then now that I have a location, it's so much more than that. Now I have to
yeah.
worry about the website, the booking system,
Hmm.
the emails coming in, the text messages with, customer service with the clients, scheduling because not everybody wants to use the booking system or doesn't have time. They got a question about something. I think the customer service is the biggest the
Hmm.
biggest hat,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
also really exhausting. But people, this is a relationship business. This isn't just a
Mm.
transaction.
Exactly. Hmm.
We're we love each other, you know?
Hmm.
And then, you know, having the location, it's the making sure the utilities are paid. So it's
Yeah.
just it's just a lot. And
I
then on
mean,
top of
yeah,
it, I have to
definitely.
make sure that like I'm cooking all my food, I'm making sure I'm getting my meditation. It's like the whole personal aspect of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
business.
The work life
On top of
balance.
that. And then and then I have people working with me that I'm trying to train. So then I have to put on the trainer hat and put on the I'm friends with you. Like this is fun
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
lot.
definitely a lot. And like they say, it takes a village, it's not, it's
Yeah.
okay to ask for help and it's okay to, have people on your team. And I think that's the most important thing that goes into everything, having a team, having someone that you could count
Yeah.
on when, oh, I'm not able to do this today. Can I count on you to do this for me? You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
big one. That's a big
Definitely
one,
big.
especially for like entrepreneurs,
Oh
is
yeah.
Trust.
trusting people to do their job. That's a big one. That's going to hold a lot of
Yeah.
entrepreneurs back. But it's like, we have to work through that,
Yeah.
and even
And
if
like
we
you
do fall
said,
down.
with the relationships, even work to work relationships, people that work with you, and like you said, the customer service relationships, like
Yeah,
it's the biggest thing, trust. You can't build something without trust and having a
right. And
relationship with
then
your customers.
totally. And then also like a really big challenge for me was trusting the people that I'm bringing in here to work with, trusting the people that I'm, pouring out my knowledge onto in hopes that they're going to do a good job, being patient with them because people make mistakes. We're not robots.
Yeah.
Like this has
Mhm.
been a huge learning curve for me, and I never wanted to have a business. No, I never wanted to do this. Because it takes the fun out of the craft. If you can imagine, like,
Yeah.
say you have a hobby. And then someone's like, oh my gosh, you're so good at that. You should actually make it a business. Yeah,
And then it becomes work. And it's like,
And it
yeah.
becomes work. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So trust and patience and just being flexible because we're human,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
But just like you were saying, it's hopefully you could get that help to get back into the love of it, of the reason why you started. And I'm sure you go back to that
Totally.
every single night. But there's probably some things keeping you up, and it's to maybe just do a little bit of housekeeping to just ease off the stress a little bit. And I think that's what we
Yeah.
all kind of look for.
Yeah. I think that ever since I started, turning my life over to God, I mean, that happened like 2 years ago because I was just, man, I was buried. I was on my knees and I was feeling really, 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 really alone.
Yeah.
Um, so ever since I started, praying more and kind of just like relying on the Holy Spirit and my higher
Hmm.
power, the bigger, like there's a bigger plan.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
took a lot
Mhm.
off my shoulders. Just
Yeah.
having that, like
Definitely.
practicing that type of a mindset.
Yeah. Having the faith, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, first before I say happy early Easter, I
yeah, you
didn't know,
too.
but yeah, but definitely just being able to, instead of go home and have that stress, go home and have in your mind that everything's gonna be okay because there is a plan.
Yeah.
Um, that there is a plan, and
And
everything's gonna
everything's
be
gonna be
okay.
okay.
Everything's gonna be
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at this.
Right. Yeah. Happy mindset. You gotta
But but
think better
that's
things.
that's exactly it.
Exactly. I know. So
It's
I should probably show you guys my book I wrote. Speaking of
Oh,
happiness.
really?
awesome.
Yeah, let me grab it really quick. It's called Happy by Design.
All
Hold
right.
on.
Awesome. Let me see it.
Okay. You guys probably didn't know this, but I did write a book and
Wow, that's really cool.
That's
It's
awesome.
called Happy by Design, How to Use Your Five Senses to Trigger Your Happy Anywhere, Anytime. And it's really about getting to know what you like as a person on all of your five senses. We have so many opportunities to be happy every single day. We're anything we touch, we see, we taste, we feel, we hear, like all of
Yeah.
these are opportunities. And it's like, have we even thought about, hey, what do we like to see? Like, what do we
Hmm.
like to see every day? Whether it's a
Yeah.
picture of somebody who's deceased in your life, whether it's, you know, uh, making your space that you dwell in something that positively
Yeah,
reinforce
look nice. Yeah,
happiness.
they say one of the most important things is making your bed in the morning. Just so, you have a
Dude,
bad day, you go back to a made bed at night. It's so important
exactly.
keeping everything nice. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's these little things that we just don't realize. But
Kind of
like
zooming out,
what's that?
kind of like zooming out on life and really,
Yeah. Yeah,
getting
totally.
back.
But I feel like a lot of people, for myself, I didn't really know who I was and I didn't know what I liked. So therefore, how can I make decisions that were going to positively reinforce my life, if I don't really know myself very well?
Hmm.
So yeah, just writing that book, it really helped me get to know myself too. And then I learned a bunch from writing it. And I learned about all the things that we're actually being auto programmed with that we don't realize, like words and music that we're listening to in the background,
Yeah.
things that we're watching on TV, like the news, social media. Like we just have to say,
Hmm.
hey, is this person that we're following on social media, is he or she making me anxietal, not feel good about myself, feel good about myself? Like, what is it? Like, we need to be able to identify what we're exposing ourselves to so that way we can be happy, joyous, and free. Like these are big, small nuggets.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
honestly, even myself, now that you talked about like the five sentences, like I never even thought about that myself. Like, what you look at, like these little things that you don't think
Little
about that
tiny
make you
details.
happy could change your entire day.
Oh,
And that's
totally.
definitely big. Yeah, 100%.
Just like the making your bed thing. Like this
Yeah,
is something
yeah.
that you're gonna see,
Every
right?
single day.
And right when you
Mhm.
walk in the door at home, it's gonna be a happy moment.
Yeah, right. I
Mm,
got a clean room at least. At least I have a clean room. At least 100%. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
yeah. But keeping, like you said, like the little things, going back to what we said earlier, is not trying to make such a big change. Like if you want to start to maybe reshaping who you are and getting back on the track you want to be on, start making your bed in the morning. Start
Totally.
these incorporating these five sensory things that you've been talking about, these everyday things that are slowly picking you apart every day. You don't have to work out 5 days a week and meal prep 7 days a week right away. Just maybe make your bed. Stop
Right.
listening to that music. Maybe unfollow some people on social media. Maybe delete social media.
Yeah.
But definitely agree.
Totally. Just taking a look at like what we're being exposed to, because it's really what we're exposing our own self to. We've got choices every single day.
Oh,
Are our
yeah.
choices making us happy? Are our choices, or are our choices giving us anxiety?
Mm,
Hmm.
A lot of stuff is lifestyle. I've got a friend over here that's struggling with uh depression, but it's like, are you drinking cups of coffee a day? Are
yeah.
you watching scary horror movies all the time? Like,
Yeah.
like these are the questions. And we have to ask ourselves, okay, are we going through depression? Like, what's our lifestyle look like? Like, are we packing a bunch of unprocessable foods in our into our mouths and
Yeah.
expecting us to be, healthy and happy?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with that. I think people like to they don't not necessarily put the blame on themselves, but they don't really like to take initiative and accountability. Like, maybe I am the one that has to make the change. What I mean, that instead of blaming everything around, like, oh, this didn't go my way, but it's not my fault. This didn't
Yeah.
go my way. Like, sometimes you gotta take accountability and be like, all right, if I want to make a change in my life, I have to change all those little things that I think aren't important.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's really quite an exercise to look from the outside in. Because like, we could probably ask, our three best friends that were around every day. You're like, hey, like, do you see anything that maybe I should change in my life that might be, it's like that's the point of having a friendship. If
Yeah,
someone's
right. To be able to call
struggling
you
with
out on
something,
things.
yeah, you just ask for assistance.
You can't always have those people that tell yes you to death. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need the no's. You need it doesn't look like you're doing good. How can we help? You know what I mean? Instead of just yesing you to death and telling you everything you want to hear. Sometimes we need things that we don't want to hear.
Totally. It's like we gotta take a look at things. I'll never forget the time that I nominated a client of mine to be my mentor. And we went out to dinner one night, and he's like, Emily, I just don't see you sitting behind the desk just waiting for clients to come in. No, no, no. He goes, I see you franchising and like you running things. And I was like, whoa, really? I was like, I couldn't see it, like I couldn't see from the outside in. So it was interesting. And like, I can't stress more on like how important it is to like hire a coach or two.
Yeah,
Like if
Yeah,
you want
yeah,
to do something,
definitely.
you have to hire somebody who's a professional in that industry.
Yeah,
definitely.
well, I mean, I think that goes back to everything, honestly. Professional, like having a professional and stuff, like you said, especially in having a business and things like that, you're not going to be good at every specific thing you need to do. So
Totally.
that's what you hire people, you have people that do those things for you. You have people that come market this for me, come help me with this. It
Yeah,
takes stuff off your plate, and maybe there's people that are doing it better than you that could teach you.
totally. Totally, exactly. And that's where like the wearing many hats comes into
Yeah, back to that. Uh-huh.
and sometimes we kind of have to learn how to do a few things here and there. And that's where coaches come in and they help make us better. And then we can have a little bit more knowledge onto who we're going to hire to wear that hat for us.
Definitely. Because then, if you take off some of your hats, the hat that you have remaining on, you're going to become better at that wearing that
Exactly. So
hat.
that's my goal right now moving forward with my business is just to work on client relationship, client follow-up, making
Mhm.
sure their hair pieces and their hair systems are working for them in their lives,
Bec-
working on the business, not so much in the business. So I'm kind of in a real big
Yeah.
trusting period right now on
yeah,
the
Hmm.
now that I'm
because sorry to cut you off, but like because that's why you started it. You want to get back to the reason why you started it. The
yeah,
hair, the
exactly.
relationships,
Exactly.
all this side stuff that is extremely important. It's going to keep the lights on, but all this side stuff is not why you started. To give these side stuff to other people to get back to you're the owner, you are the head honcho to get back to what you want to do. Because again, that's going to snowball to
Totally.
the relations being and the product and the results all being better, and then you have these things clicking and that clicking, and then we're off.
Yeah, you guys are so smart. Such a great
No, it's
conversation.
awesome.
Yeah, no, it's really important for people to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you're right. This is why I started this. This is why I started doing hair to actually make a difference in each person's life to, you know, allow them to be happy through their hair.
Yeah,
yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, the thing that you're doing, yes, you people just have a job, at the end of people think, oh, I'm just gonna go get a job just so I can make the money. But like, we're all on this earth for a certain amount of time, go do what makes you happy. And if you could help others along the way, like
Totally.
I think that's a win-win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you're doing the best you can.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Oh,
I think that's great. Seeing people out there that are not miserable and are really doing something they like to do is the best thing in the world because it makes you
Totally.
I think it gives young people hope too. Like, I don't have to just go get this job for the rest of my life and hate it.
Right.
I could go do something I love. I could help people with specific things like, hair, fitness, health,
Right.
any industry.
No, totally. And that's another reason why I wrote this book,
mhm.
Happy by Design, How to Use Your Five Senses to Trigger Your Happy Anywhere, Anytime, which you can find this on Amazon. If any of the listeners out there, or if you guys want to
Oh
read
yeah,
it,
definitely,
um,
definitely.
this is like just going through this book is going to help you figure out what it is you like. And then a
Mhm.
light bulb's going to go on and be like, oh my gosh, I really want to do this because that's what I like. So it actually saves much more time in life figuring out what it is you like first. And I mean, I can't tell you how long it took me to actually figure those things out. It took me, you know, till I was like 40 to actually write a book and like start, brainstorming everything out and putting it into words and processing and digesting it myself. Now, had I had something like that when I was going through high school, I would have been able to navigate my
Yeah,
life
right.
quicker, much
Mhm,
quicker.
100%.
Oh yeah. I went down a lot of the wrong roads because I didn't know what I liked and I didn't
Yeah,
know who I was.
that's
But
awesome though. So, any last questions, Chris? I feel like we've been on here for like 40 minutes ish.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, great I was a great conversation. I'm really happy that we had you on.
Me
It
too.
was such a different thing to talk about. Not just, not just like the health, like the regular fitness and health, but the hair. The hair part of it, and even other conversations we had about, your mental health and what you could do to make your life better every single day. I think that's really
Totally.
important for the listeners to hear, but even myself, just to rehear that today, it just made me feel better going forward. So thank you. I
Oh,
appreciate you
awesome.
coming on.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Definitely.
I
Just real
appreciate
quick, you want to just give a quick, where you're located and everything. I know we're just
Yeah,
starting out. Maybe not that many people might see this, but just give yourself
yeah. No, totally. No, this is really great. I'm really excited for you guys. I think that you guys have some really great personalities and just great voices. And
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
that makes me want to listen. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm Emily, and I have Bond Hair Bar in San Mateo, and it's Bond as in James Bond, in case you don't know. And we specialize in hair loss and hair extensions for men and women. And how we're different is we align your natural hair with its perfect counterpart in hair extensions or hair systems, and everything's custom. So if it looks good on you, you're gonna be wearing it. It's not gonna be wearing you.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we also do virtual consultations if anybody's out of the area and can't make it in and they need to know, what they can do for the future of their hair, what's possible, because 99% of people really don't know when they come in for a consultation. They have no idea what's on the
Hmm.
market, what's going on behind the scenes. And what we're doing here is basically what the ladies have been doing on the red carpet for over 50 years. So, yeah, it's really exciting. It can make a huge change. And then if anybody wants to hear the podcast, it's called Bond Hair Babes, and it's on Apple and Spotify. And there should be a link on my website. And then the Happy by Design book is also on Amazon. And it's a really quick and easy read. It's like 300 pages, and it's a good way to get to know who you are, and hopefully it'll trigger where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we can throw the links down to all of that
Yeah. Yeah. We'll put the
Okay,
links
cool.
in the
below
bio,
in our.
and we'll
In
get
our
all that.
yeah.
All right,
Beautiful.
all right,
Thank you,
we're
guys.
gonna